Football and
Call the meeting to order. If everyone rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Gardine, could we have a roll call?
You betcha. Wonder Gem.
Here.
Vanek.
Here.
Steffes.
here.
Gardine here. Campbell.
Here.
Jahan.
Here.
Hybor.
Present.
All present.
Thank you very much. Please note, as a courtesy to members of the audience and the Board of Education, please silence your cell phone. Public will only be able to speak during public comment if signed up. I have 2 forms. Beautiful. Thank you. On to item number 1, the approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. Reports agenda. Start off with board member reports. Start out with Ms. Campbell.
Yes, so this month we have been preparing for everyone to go back into school. So we have spent time doing various orientations because I have a daughter starting middle school and one starting high school. So it's a very big transition year. I really have been impressed with how well organized the orientations went, the information that was sent out to parents. I felt pretty comfortable. It was clear, it was easy to understand, and it went very well. And the first day of school went very well for all 3 kids. Buses were right on time, which for the first day I thought was pretty impressive. So yeah, it's been a great start to the year, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody get started.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Steffes.
Yes, I agree. Great start of the year. Very exciting for my oldest. It's his first of many lasts his senior year, so we're trying to stop and reflect on each of those moments for him. Was able to attend the athletic meeting the other night with Charlie Kleinhexel and his crew, so it was a very nice, quick announcements of stuff that's upcoming athletic-wise, so that was fun. That's it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Vanek.
Alrighty. So I was able to go to the kickoff hurrah meeting that I used to go as a staff member, and now I get to go as a board member, and it was just a lot of fun to see all the staff abuzz with excitement for the start of the year. And it was nice to see a lot of old friends there, and I really enjoyed that. But this last month was full for my husband and I. We fulfilled a dream and goal of bringing our family out to the YMCA of the Rockies, just outside of Estes Park and just outside of the Rocky Mountain National Park. It was a great week. We spent lots of time hiking, and I was able to really observe the passing down of the love of travel and nature and adventure and wonder that my parents shared with me when I was a kid. And it's just also a good reminder that we're part of the larger community than the town we live in, and that we should care about it all. We got to meet a couple in their 70s who work very hard running a farm and winery in eastern Iowa. We got to meet a gentleman who raises alpaca and llamas in south of Lincoln, Nebraska, and a young family in Ogallala, Nebraska, where it was 104 degrees, who run an organic farm where they raise livestock, and an older gentleman who runs an entire farm alone in Berthoud, Colorado. It just struck me, they all work very hard. They live lives very different than what I live, and yet we are part of this greater community together. And with that, I also spent some time mulling over what was said at our last regular board meeting about vouchers in schools of choice. And I just wanted to say in public record that as far as I know, and I have asked people, there is no scenario in which this part of the federal government's budget will benefit our school district. It's just math. A student leaves our district, that is minus $10,000 from our budget. Do the math yourself. 10 students leave, that's $100,000 out of our budget. If we were to lose 100 students, that would be $1 million out of our operating budget. If there are doubts about this, we have experts here that can give us that picture and give us a realistic forecast about how this could affect our district. I think we should rely on that because numbers don't lie. It was mentioned that we also have several parochial students in our district that would benefit from this provision in the budget. And I want to say out loud, I do care about these students very much. They are part of our community. And we should care about them. But we already have a very healthy relationship with these parochial schools in our area. And we provide for them many services that we're legally allowed to do so. And I'm glad that we do that. They're not our enemies, but their schools exist because of a very pivotal issue, and that is the practice of promoting one set of religious beliefs in all aspects of their educational pedagogy. This is their right as a private school, but funding these schools with federal monies collected from people of all or no religious affiliation whatsoever goes against the Founding Fathers' mandate to keep religion and government separated. One of our Founding Fathers, James Madison, knew that there was great harm that could be caused when government was allowed to fund a religion or its sect, as it was in those days, as it actually took away religious freedoms. This ideal, up until the current administration's actions, was hard-baked into the First Amendment freedom of speech that we know and love, in that religious speech was different than other forms of speech and needed to be kept separate and unendorsed and unfunded by our governmental bodies. The fact remains, this toe in the water does not live up to the tenets of the U.S. Constitution. In fact, it feeds the unchristian foundation of Christian nationalism. As a public school district, which we are, it would seem to me that we could expect our leadership to stand up for the nonpartisan, non-religious pillars of educating all students to the best of our ability and to support the funding of these endeavors. And I am quite astounded to hear otherwise from our board. During your report last month, Bob, you implied that vouchers could somehow be used to our advantage, as if we could claw away money from those low-performing schools and that they'd have to figure it out themselves. In our policy book, under section 2201B-1, it is stated, the board will not use money received from any source to unlawfully aid or maintain any private, denominational, or other non-public pre-elementary, elementary, or secondary school. The board may provide transportation, auxiliary services, and non-essentially elective classes for students attending non-public schools to the extent permitted by law. I am certainly hoping that even though the feds have done so, that we wouldn't even stray into this arena of what has been stated to be illegal. There are predictable consequences to such a position, some which might seem at first great for Grandville, but many which down the road could cause huge problems. And not just for Grandville, because the power of money, we know historically, is corruptive. This could very possibly begin an educational caste system where economic and racial disparity levels are institutionalized once again. That aside, the mere idea that we would not care about what is happening to our neighboring school districts is shallow and short-sighted. We all know many of our neighbors to the east of us have enormously challenging demographics, and they need all the support they can get. Yes, taking care of our school district is our priority, but we certainly should not take the stance that what happens to them doesn't matter to us. Our greater community is only as strong as the weakest link. Attending seminars and training with board members from across the state, I've listened to and shared the concerns about what we are all facing in these times, the mundane and the existential issues. My parents, a Christian pastor and a public school teacher, understood this well. In my travels with them as a child, and now as an adult, I was introduced to all sorts of communities across our country. In every state other than Hawaii, we can't put on self-serving blinders. We are part of this city, our greater community, our state, and our country. If Rome falls again, it will be because of this selfish lack of vision. And lastly, I'd like to recognize, on a completely different strain here, that two of our board members have recently lost precious family members, and I want to offer my deepest condolences during this time of grief. Jason, your mom's funeral was actually a time of great beauty as you and your family honored her well. I'm sure she enjoyed all the laughs and all the love. Amy, you and Sip have been nothing short of perfect as you've helped your in-laws travel this journey towards Sip's dad's resting place. Your commitment and love for them continues to be deep and true. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wondergem.
I have not checked my email since Saturday, but I'm not sure if the board or Raj is aware that Tina Barwatz passed away Friday morning. Tina was a staff member, principal. She was principal at Riverbend. I'm thinking 19 years. I know she was here a long time, but very sad situation for their family. And just wanted to let the board know. That's all I have.
Was she a principal there, Bob, when they reopened Riverbend?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Ms. Gerdine?
All right, let me put my glasses on. First of all, I was gone for the last two board meetings, so thank you to Roger for letting me. First of all, I got to go to grandparents camp, which yes, that was planned for a long time, so that was really fun. That was great. Got to go and watch my granddaughter enjoy the camp that my mom has been going to for 75 years. She's an old lady, but so that was really cool. And then also thank you for your for the people who've reached out with condolences about Cyprian's father passing away this past week. He did a good job on my husband. I love him to death. So it's been an interesting week of a lot of work for my mother-in-law, who now lives here and is going to start making new friends at a different facility. But yeah, it was really nice to see all the teachers and the admins. Good job, Roger, on doing the speech this year. You stepped right up and filled that gap, and it was great. Over the summer, I got to go to band camp, which was really cool because I've never helped with band camp before. And that is a blast. It is so much fun, and especially when the senior parents come and, oh man, coordinating that many kids. Whew, and the show is going to be amazing. It's going to be great. I'm sporting all of my hockey stuff, even though this is not the 50th anniversary of our 50th anniversary. The seals, the crests are ready to be ordered and purchased. We're getting hats. We're getting all kinds of stuff. We just, I was just telling Joe that I actually wrote to him. I'm like, hey, who's this Steffes kid on the hockey team? So I went and I got all the 50 years of yearbooks, and I wrote down 553 alumni, and that's not even all of them. So we're still looking for more alumni. So if you know addresses and names and stuff, we'd really love it. We got our golf outing coming up, which would be a really great way to support our team. The open houses, I agree, they were so easy, so fun. Love watching those. I love going past all the elementary schools in Oakstown, and everybody's backpacks are so sparkly. Everybody's shoes are so clean. It's really nice. All the kids at the bus stop. And shout out to Walter, who got the YouTube videos up. I wanted to say that I did go ahead and watch YouTube videos when I couldn't be here. And it also brought up a little bit of concern about from our board, encouraging anyone to vote for vouchers, whether it's called school of choice, whether it's called tuition reimbursement. It's a bad idea. I think that Sally said quite a bit of what I wanted to say, so I did have quite a bit of what she had written down. But I went a step further because I was a teacher, and I do have, if you would like to see some of these handouts, I have the Bell policy. The center has all of the different states listed by which ones are voucher schools and which ones are non-voucher schools. The top 5 schools in the United States do not do vouchers. And they also fund their schools anywhere from $10,000 to $16,000 over what we fund our schools. per year. Actually, I think New York funds them almost 26 over. It's 36,000 per student per year. So when we're talking about vouchers, I can tell you this. If funding for a school is a pizza, right? Right now, our state is lucky enough that we have 100% of that in our pizza, right? What ends up happening is that in all voucher states, about 36% of that money ends up going to private schools. Now, that would be great if it was a 1-to-1 ratio, but it is not. And what ends up happening is I made this cute little, look, I used my holiday. I am a good Hungarian cheapskate. So, all right, so let's say, so now our pizza is cut down, 64% goes to public schools, and 36% goes to private schools, which would be great if this is how it fell down for our students. But here's the deal, look at this. This is, if this was a pizza, our public school kids get a half a piece. They get a half a piece of pizza. Private school kids get to walk away with 5 pieces of pizza. That is a 10 times more pizza. That's 10 times more funding for only 7% of our students. And I agree. I absolutely love the relationship we have with private schools around here. They use our fields, they use our auditoriums, they use our psychologists, they use a lot of our stuff, right? And I think that that's extremely important, as they are also taxpayers. I agree with that. But public schools take every single child, and private schools do not have to. So how the public can pay into something and not be able to use it is not okay with me. So I do have this handout that shows the lowest are all green. Those are all voucher schools. And every single one of those states, I want to say Arizona is actually closing all of its schools. It was just in the news this last week. Arizona was the very first state to go in for vouchers, and they're the very first state to shutter schools. That says something. Utah, in 2023, they were 13th. No, in 2022, they were 13th. Now they're 37th. In Iowa, they started at 13th. Now they're 22. New Hampshire was 5th. They were 5th in the nation. And in 4 short years, they've gone from 5 to 16. Vouchers do not work, no matter what you call them, no matter if you think it's school of choice, no matter what you think. They do not work. And they also reduce what we are able to have for our teachers, which means private schools are going to fail too. These are not good options. And I understand the politics behind it, but I have been thinking about and dealing with vouchers for the last 23 years as a parent, and since 1994 when I started teaching at a private school. I also had my children in private schools where there is very little, if any, oversight. There was no transparency in 2 of the Montessori's we were in. It's not just parochial, it's private, it's across the board. So I think that it is a dangerous and slippery slope to tell people on a board where we are supposed to be supporting funding and encouraging growth that we should be giving away money from our schools. I want to remind you of the ways we have funded our school. Funding programs, after COVID, we poured a lot of money and we had the government pour into ESSER funds, and our scores are better than ever. Thank you, Scott. Good job. All right. In an effort to build our band programs, we placed a ton of funds into new instruments. And guess what we have right now? We have the highest amount of students entering middle school choosing band in over a decade because we invested. As a response to our infrastructure needs and expanding programs like robotics, we built top-notch facilities. And guess what? We win world competitions. In an effort to help non-college bound students, we funded aeronautics classes, and we were working with Weller, and now we have graduates who are going to have jobs that pay great money when they get out of high school. By negotiating contracts where we are retaining and recruiting talented teachers. And I'm going to tell you this, I am so excited looking at his schedule this year. Oh, he has the best. I am so excited for his school year this year. And don't forget that we also have an awesome superintendent who goes around the state working with other superintendents, working to make sure that all schools are succeeding and that we're working together, right? So I do have these handouts if you want them later. One of the things I want to emphasize about voucher states that also was not discussed is that in voucher states, oftentimes the per pupil cost, like we get $10,000 a year per pupil, states will lower them. And at the same time, tuition for private schools at minimum will go up 25%. So even those students who think that they're going to have a choice to go to private schools, they can't. At the most, private schools see maybe a 1% increase in their attendance because students cannot do it. I have voucher math for families on the back of this one that is the big pizza one. I know, it's exciting, isn't it? It's so nice. And a lot of these came from, I mean, I will tell you that one of the experts is from Michigan State. Let me tell you this one. This is one of my favorites because we get so worried about student retention for scores. Josh Cohen, a professor of education policy at Michigan State University, said that school vouchers cause catastrophic academic harm. And they have a worse impact on students' outcomes than any other policy or event in public school history, including, this is my favorite, including the global pandemic. We talked about how bad those scores were after COVID, and I love the analogy that we're constantly using about, oh, it's just a light rain, nothing to worry about, oh, it's kind of storming. If we're gonna use the rain analogy, if COVID's effect on scores were a thunderstorm where we had to clean up some blown over trees and fix some damaged roofs, vouchers would be a hurricane, and it would blow us right off the island. It's not good. The Brookings Institute says that the larger the voucher program, the worse the test results tend to be in the state. It's across the board. In addition, the Economic and Achievement Study from Brookings also states that a mainly private system eliminates teacher salary and benefits, exacerbating teacher shortages and diminishing overall teacher quality. So not only do our scores go down, our teachers go down. So if we want to look at Arizona and we want to say it's a great tax benefit to people, guess what else Arizona has to do? They also have to pay an additional $1 billion in taxes this year because private school oversight is so bad in that state. Happening in New Hampshire too, $1.2 billion in oversight taxation after the fact. So you're not even getting a tax break. You're getting a tax hike, and your students are losing quality education. It's simple funding. And as a board member, I believe it is our job. I've never been on a board where we wanted to defund the organization that we were with. I have only been on boards that are like, how can we get a grant? How can we make more money for our students? How can we get instruments? How can we pay for new buses? That's our job. Thank you. I have handouts if you want them. And you can have my pizza too.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Don?
All right, well, just looking forward to the students and staff being back in the classroom. I know Roger, one of the things that he's stressed is that it's like helping every student reach their full academic achievement possible. And I know I don't have kids in the school anymore now, which is sad for me, but this school district, the teachers and the staff and the admin definitely did that. They've made my kids' lives better and our families' lives better because of that. So thank you for that. Just some football things now. The dog cards, the Football Boosters has the dog cards available. The practice, the boys will get out of practice. All the high school kids will get out of practice tomorrow early, and then they'll be going out into the neighborhoods to sell them. They're $20 a piece. So if you want a dog card, you can lots of discounts on those. Maybe they'll knock on your door, maybe they won't. But if you see if you want one, you can see not even a varsity, just a high school football player, and they will have one. First football game is next Thursday at home against Muskegon. Looking forward to that. And congratulations, Jaden Terry. I saw announced that he's going to go to Ferris State, so that's pretty cool. He's one of the best players in the state. But that's all I've got.
Good. Thank you. All right. So thank you all. I appreciate everyone's updates. It's very exciting time. We got the start of school today. So that's always fun to see. I got excited as I'm driving in out there, seeing the football practice going on for the little kids. It's just, there's always so much excitement this time of year. We even got a lot of M Live love today. I don't know if we were the only school that started today or what, but man, we got all kinds of, we had all kinds of love today. So that was kind of cool to see. So it is bittersweet for me because I'm going to be like you here after this year. We have our last of our kids are entering, are going to finish up. He's going to be a senior this year. So it's exciting and emotional time around our house right now. So I know we traditionally like to use these board member updates to talk about the interactions we've had with our stakeholders, talk about all the awesome things we have going on in our schools, the achievements of our students, faculty, and staff. But I'd like to veer from that path a bit tonight. So please indulge me as I honor a former Bulldog. Okay. My mom, Nancy Jean Apple, was born November 4th, 1946 in Standale, Michigan. She was one of 4 Apple kids to attend Grandville Public Schools, first at Cummings and then the high school in this very building, actually. She participated in student government and theatrical performances, even convincing her mother, believe it or not, to lend her wedding dress to the cast of Arsenic and Old Lace for the performance. I don't know how she pulled that off. She graduated in 1965, went on to attend and graduate from the Grand Rapids Junior College nursing program, spending most of her working years as a pediatric nurse. Through the years, her love for Grandville never wavered. She raised 3 boys who would all graduate from GHS and will have 5 grandkids graduate from her alma mater as well. Nancy spent many years volunteering at many field trips as she could and planning many Halloween parties, Christmas, and Valentine's classroom parties for all of her kids. In 1989, she even chaperoned a bunch of middle school students on a train trip to Colorado to attend the Science Olympiad National Tournament. Over the years, she attended numerous band concerts, choir performances, and plays. She cheered loudly at basketball, baseball, softball, and lacrosse games, and volleyball and tennis matches. She made as many of her kids' and grandkids' functions as she could. But her real love was football. There was a stat on the most Grandville football games attended. She had to have made the top 20. She attended the games of her 2 brothers, 3 sons, and 1 grandson who all played for the Bulldogs. And when one of her sons joined the coaching staff, she happily returned to the stands cheering on the Dogs. At some point over the last 20 years, she became an unofficial team mom, baking chocolate chip cookies for the team and coaches after each game, but only when they played well, which, as the years went by, wasn't too high of a bar as she loved to bake for all the boys. After she retired from nursing, she returned to Cummings and helped in the classrooms of her grandkids. And they went on to higher grades. Mimi Madden and Sherry Plagmeyers convinced her to come in 2 to 3 days a week to assist them. She would help those students who needed some extra attention and be that non-judgmental ear that would patiently listen to the kids as they practiced reading a book aloud to her or even read their own stories. She loved being there for them and the hugs she received in return. Her impact on the Grandville community extended beyond the schools as well. When we were in grade school, we attended St. Pius Church, and for many years my mom volunteered to run the special needs religious ed program there. Now, this was different from the religious ed program that we attended during the school day and partnered with St. Pius. This took place in the evening during the week. Being a busy mom of 3 boys, I asked her at one point why she did this, and she said she felt empathy for the parents of these kids and knew that they needed a break, even if it was only for an hour or 2 once a week. And if she could do that, she would gladly help. But that's who she was at heart, a caretaker, a cheerleader, a giver, who just wanted everyone to have an opportunity to succeed, to be heard, and to be seen. Mom passed away August 8th, 2025. Her impact on the community was laid bare for us over the last week as former classmates, parents, students, teachers, players, and coaches all came to either pay their respects or send tributes and stories about her. She was one of a kind and will be missed. Thank you. Raj?
Okay. Gosh, how you follow that? Amazing person, and there are several people in our community I know that are experiencing loss or loved ones that are going through a lot. So just want to say our thoughts and prayers are with those families, because when you're a Grandville person, you're a Grandville person forever. So just again, our thoughts and prayers go out to all of them, and the people who have passed, the people who are going through struggles. Great beginning to school today, as everyone has mentioned. I'll talk more about that later in the agenda.
As mentioned at an earlier board meeting, we have 3 proposals on the ballot this November. And the reason why I bring that up again, I know we've talked about it, but I bring it up because information will start getting out to our people. We have a duty to inform them, let them know what these proposals are, how much money is at stake for their school district, and also, what it means to their bottom line as far as a household. So we've tried to do all that within the information that will be going out. So that will really start going out next week. The goal is to touch every person 7 times. So you'll be hearing a lot about that and seeing a lot of things to do with that. So, and if anybody has any questions, please give us a call. We'll love to talk about it and share that information. Very important, of course. And that's all I'm going to say for the moment, because I'll talk later about back to school.
Fair enough. All right, on the consent action agenda, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All those in favor? Yes. Opposed? Motion passes. Regular action items, 4A, the Life EMS. Apologize, volume's on this. Sorry about that. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the purchase of services from Life EMS Ambulance of Grand Rapids for co-teaching the Emergency Medical Technician course for the 2025-26 school year at a cost of $34,936.49. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, and Heather's going to give you a summary of the numbers and the money and so on that we're dealing with this great program. So Heather?
Sure. So this program is in partnership with Life EMS, has been in existence, I think this is its 19th year. I know we talked a lot last year about number of students and what would our break even be, right? And I know we talked about the number 10. When schedules are put together at the high school, they start very early in the year. At that time, we had 10 students, and then we had 2 drop out. One of, I guess I'm going to call it the cool things, though, is over the last 2 years, we've applied for and received CTE funding for this course. So this current school year, that we just finished, 24-25, where we paid the $33,951, we actually got an additional $15,000 from CTE grant funding, which stands for Career Technical Education. I know at the time I wrote this proposal, we had 8 students, but we gained one more from Byron Center. They reached out because Ken ISD's program was full. So we are able to provide this course to other students. We do get the FTE for the time that they are in there as well. So that number would change a little bit there. And then also this year, something a little different, Jason Purton, who is actually with Life EMS, he is actually the teacher of record for that course now with the retirement of Mrs. Rieger. So very comfortable with the amount, comfortable with the reimbursement funding that we're receiving. And we do continue to reach out. We've reached out, like Adam has reached out to Hudsonville, Jenison, Tri-Unity, Grandville Christian, and then most recently Byron and Wyoming too. So we'll continue to open up that program to others that surround us. But for right now, that's the proposal on the board. So.
Heather, we did have extensive discussion about this last year, so thanks for bringing that up.
Yep.
I guess my thought, I got 2 of them. More may come. Are we sort of forced into this, which means shouldn't we be approving this in June rather than August? Because my perspective is The program has been decreasing. It's a great program, you know, I say its accolades every year. But even with 9 students, it seems that we're below the line. One thing you did mention, though, was one student from Byron because of KCTC.
Yeah.
So can this program transition under KCTC control and yet be housed at Grandville? Have you guys looked at that?
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing too, I guess, just to be clear, like, so Jason is not being paid by the district, so there's savings there for this year also. Just want that to, be clear, because we're not incurring the teaching cost for the program. We're only incurring that $35,000. But to your point, yes, that's a conversation we could have with the ISD in terms of housing it here.
Well, we'd
might grow.
recommend,
And
yeah, what we'd recommend, Bob, is, and it's a good point about approving it in June, but we had the numbers in June, and then we didn't have the numbers, a few weeks back, and then we found one really quick, so we had 9, and we might even gain some more here. If you did it in June, you would go by numbers of kids enrolled, but if they dropped, you'd be in the same boat anyway. That's why we kind of wait till the last minute in hopes we have a true number for you, or as close to that number as possible. We probably wouldn't be recommending this year without the substantial decrease in cost. And what we would recommend is, as we look at next year, we'll work with the ISD to see if we can make this, in fact, more of what you said, more of a true CTE program, like a regional spot here in Grandville for the area districts. And then I think our numbers hopefully could go up.
Yeah,
And this is what we did with the teaching program, too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
right?
say.
So
That's
it's
the
kind
other-
of what we've been
we're
moving
doing-
towards anyway,
This is
right?
our
Yeah.
second year doing something very similar with the Teacher Academy.
Yeah.
They reached out to us for space, so we,
Because I think it would, I'm sorry, continue.
No,
You were
go
saying-
ahead.
I was because I think it would be very beneficial to many of those students here locally, because I don't want to paint with a broad brush, but many of the students that go to KCTC aren't necessarily college bound, but a lot of the kids I feel that go to this are typically pre-med college bound students. So they can't necessarily afford the 3 hours away to go to KCTC. So we could potentially attract kids from a Byron Center, from a Wyoming or Rogers, or from some of these other districts that don't necessarily want to take 3 courses at KCTC, but still want to do something like this to help their college admissions and get a leg up in the healthcare field. So I agree. I 100% agree with everything you stated, Bob. And because I've been the one the last 3 years have been asking, okay, the numbers are going down, they continue to go down. What's our walkaway point, right? So, and I do have questions, just as Bob mentioned, about why we don't do it earlier, because we make that decision, because I tell you, my son had this, right? He wanted to take AP European history. Well, we didn't offer it, right? So we did an independent study, right? So we're making these decisions in certain classes, beforehand, whether or not we know we have interest in it. So I'm not sure how we can figure this out for this necessary course instead of going.
and I think,
Go ahead,
just
please.
to echo
Yeah.
Roger's point, like, you have to understand the scheduling process starts very early in the year. And to his point, like,
Yeah.
we had 10 kids signed up, ready to go. And then we had 2 that bailed. And
Yeah.
that happened.
But even at 10, though, we should be going ding, 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 ding. Hey, maybe we should have a conversation about this.
But we did last year, and we said 10 was that magic number for
Okay.
this year.
Okay, fair enough.
So, go ahead.
Heather, you mentioned something about grant funding from last year's that was like 15 grand. Is there anything available this year? And if you said so,
Yes.
I missed it.
Yeah, no, and yes, there is.
Okay.
We're still finalizing everything for the audit, and then we have a report that is going to be due to the ISD. It's usually around September, and so then
Okay.
we'll get some funding again for that.
Okay.
It's similar to like we get it for our marketing and accounting courses and our aeronautics course. And then we're in the process of applying for when Weller comes online too.
Okay.
And that's always a year
That's pretty
delayed.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Those ones are always a year delayed, so.
so the money
Remember
received
last
this year was from 23-24 expenses.
I got you.
And to your point, there's a teacher we're no longer having to dedicate to this. So
Correct.
we're, in essence, we're gaining a fifth of a salary
Yes.
for someone to
Yes,
teach
for-
something else.
yes.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
So Heather, are there any programs, given where Grand Rapids sits from the medical perspective with, you know, a lot of cutting edge things? Grand Valley has, you know, a significant program in here, possibly GRCC. Are there, especially with so many students dual enrolling, is there any programming similar to this within those organizations? Because if KCTC isn't willing to do it, again, I love this thing, but is there another platform for it? Is there another place
Yeah.
that it should reside?
Why don't you let us look at that and maybe come back February? Is that fair? Come back in February with what we see as some options. We start enrolling
They start scheduling
Yeah.
around February.
right around that time.
So do it
If not
January.
So maybe we
Yeah.
can have some conversation about options and what we found from KCTC and or our local colleges and universities and see what makes sense.
I think the way KCTC is trying to address the needs of all students, I'm just going to say that attend them, because some decide to go into a career without going into higher education, and others do go into higher education, you know, culinary, this kind of thing, teaching. So if that opportunity, there just could be another unique opportunity, right?
Yeah.
What do we always say? There's only 2 in the state that have this, and we're the only one on this side of the state. Is there a way to kind of just give it a new home?
Yeah. And I know KCTC, I mean, they do a lot of different things with their CNA program. I know they were running a program, because my mom actually helped with it, down at the market, downtown at the market, teaching high school kids how to draw blood and, you know, phlebotomy type things. So I know there's a lot of different programs they have, and it would be interesting to see how we could, to Bob's point, absolutely partner, right? And create, hopefully create something unique for us, so.
Is Life EMS, what's his name? Is it Jason?
Jason.
Jason. So is Life EMS paying his salary then to teach this course? So they're trying to get some recruitment out of this ultimately. Has anyone reached out to them at all to see if they're willing to help out with that?
They're aware of that.
Okay.
That component of it.
Okay.
Yeah. So is that fair? Bring it back to you right around January, February. We'll see what we can find out and bring back some options, some recommendations or thoughts, and then we can based on that, figure out next steps.
And we'll write it down that you're getting that 15,000.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Fair enough, fair
You
enough.
could write it down, but.
In pencil.
It'll be in pencil, right? Exactly, yeah. All right. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passes. On to report discussion, first day of school report.
Sure. So as we mentioned, super beginning. Today, having that half day is kind of designed to be like a procedure day, if you will, for students. They go through, and it's not just procedure day at school, it's procedure day at home too. I know how that is, and just trying to get back in that swing of things, of getting up, of what that routine's gonna be like. Whether you ride a bus, whether a parent brings them in, whatever it is, and then, get that whole thing going. And we go through our school stuff, just to get them in a flow, and then tomorrow, it's full day and it's good to go, and they're not coming in blind. So we're very excited about how the day went, very excited about the routines and things that were established. Some very minor glitches. What I always say is if it's something that happens where we can go, oh yeah, we can fix that for tomorrow, then you know it was a pretty minor thing, right? So yeah, we had a few of those, and we think we have those fixed. Kudos to our staff, I mean, including our custodial, grounds, maintenance, technology, secretaries, security, food service, transportation, everybody for preparing for the school year. They did a fabulous job. There's a lot of people behind the scenes in those departments that do some really incredible work to get us to that point. So just want to thank them as well as of course, our education staff who do an amazing job preparing for the school year. Just a reminder to everyone out on the roads, please slow down and be careful. You know, I know, you know, people are not used to seeing kids on the roads, or they're not, or around the roads. They're not used to the buses and the things happening. So please think about that when you get out there, because, you know, we need you to be as safe as possible for our kids in our community. Also, it's normal for kids to be a little tired the first couple weeks of school, because again, they're getting into those routines. Some of them I'm sure were sleeping in the summer. Some of them I'm sure were staying up pretty late in the summer and not used to doing the things that they'll be doing when they get back into school. So again, very, very normal. So with that kind of thing, with the change in routines. And thanks to everyone for making this, everybody, a great beginning. And I again, I mentioned a lot of departments. I'd also like to say parents, because parents do a phenomenal job getting their kids prepared. I saw so many smiles today, not from just kids, but from parents, and I love seeing that. They're just so excited. It was fun to watch. I was at the middle school to start things out. It was so much fun to watch parents who just so wanted to take pictures of their kids. And if you know middle school kids, they're like, Mom, Dad, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it was fun to watch. But that was really cool, because the kid would go into school, the parents would turn around to go to their car, and they're looking at that picture, and they're just smiling. And I thought, you know, that is so cool. And a lot of people don't get to see those moments, and I just love to see that. So thanks to everyone for a wonderful beginning, and we appreciate your partnership, and we'll just continue to strengthen that as we move forward. So thanks.
All right. Thank you. On to public comment. Just as a reminder, you have 5 minutes, and Mr. DeHaan will be keeping track of that, and he will give you a warning at 1 minute. First up, we have Beth Leggett. And on deck, Jeff Johnston.
Good evening, Board. I also wanted to extend my condolences to the Gardines, the loss of Sip's mom, and Jason, to your mom, or to his dad, sorry, and your mom. It sounds like she was an amazing woman, and I know your kids are into theater, so I always like using the line, I know she'll be missed, and she left her handprint on your heart. So.
Thank you.
And again, greetings, Grandville Public School Board. I was unable to attend on August 14th, but I did listen to the meeting, as I often do when I'm unable to be here in person. I come to you as a parent of 2 graduates of Grandville High School now. So excited to have one in Grand Valley who will be looking to possibly TA this fall as a junior. So thank you for preparing him well to do that. And the other one who will be going into welding at GRCC. So different paths, but well, certainly unique. I did also want to comment on some of the comments made by Mr. Wundergem last week. Mr. Wundergem, I think you said it would be a disservice if Michigan did not vote for vouchers for private schools, vouchers that take money away from public schools. I believe you said that we need to be a destination school, a school of choice. and you're saying that we need to continue to remain competitive because vouchers are coming. So vouchers are coming, which you seem to support, which will reduce funding, as we've talked about already tonight, for our public school, which you are elected to serve. But yet we have to get ahead of it, as you said, vouchers, so we can remain competitive. That does seem to be a little confusing as to whose side you're actually on. Private school vouchers or the public school district, again, that you committed to serve. I appreciate Mrs. Gardine's research, but I'm wondering if you've done any research about the impact of vouchers on public schools. This will reduce our power to perform, to hire, to retain teachers, to expand and enrich programs, and to do right by our public school student body. This makes us less competitive, less of a high-performing public school, less of that school of choice. In the last board meeting, you encouraged the board to adapt. And I guess that will be needed since the public schools would have less money to put on programs, hire teachers, and maintain facilities. We are a school for all, a public school. While I am a Christian, and I've sent my kids to both private Christian schools and public schools, I believe in the freedom of religion, and I do not believe our collective tax dollars should support a school that promotes a specific religion. I'm wondering, Mr. Wundergem, if you would support tax dollars going to a Muslim school, not just a Christian school. I've heard so many wonderful things about how you have served, Mr. Wundergem, and it's a little hard knowing you for the last few years. I've not been witness to as many of those stories, but I know you've done so much for our local community, and I appreciate that. But I'd ask that you stop letting partisan politics drive you and support the students and families of our Grandville public schools. This means not quoting from that big, beautiful pile of garbage that you referenced last week. Please continue to serve well the public school to which you are elected and are committed to serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Jeff Johnston.
My mouth always gets dry at this moment. Good evening, members of the board, parents, neighbors, friends. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight, and congratulations again to one and all on the start of a successful start to another school year. I am here tonight in response to Mr. Wundergem's report at the last board meeting, although I almost hate to pile on, almost. Mr. Wundergem spoke, as we've all heard, in praise of school vouchers enabled through the federal budget reconciliation bill. He called it an opportunity for Grandville to, quote, play in a fair market game. And that's a strange claim for someone whom voters have entrusted with supporting our public school district. I have to wonder about the knowledge or motivations behind someone who would make such a claim. Let's be clear about what vouchers do. They take taxpayer dollars, our dollars, that would otherwise go to public schools, and they use them to subsidize tuition at private, often religious schools. These private institutions are not held to the same standards of accountability, transparency, or accessibility as public schools. Their unelected leaders do not make decisions in the public eye at meetings such as this one. They can, and often do, exclude students based on disability, income level, religious affiliation, gender identity, or academic performance. Public schools do not and cannot pick and choose who they serve. This is no fair market game. Public education is a value rooted in centuries of American history, since before we were even a nation. We support public schools because public education is a public good. It's not transactional, just paying a fee for my children or your children to learn. It's the rising tide that lifts all boats. The country sharing the dividends of investing in an educated populace and workforce. As has been observed, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Proponents of vouchers say they provide choice and empower parents, which sounds good. But let's get real about who benefits. Where vouchers already exist, about 70% of families using them were not fleeing failing public schools, as the stereotype goes. They already had children in private schools because they could afford it. Mr. Wondergem, you talked about a program that would provide $1,700 per student or $3,400 per family. Do you know what the average private school tuition is in Michigan? It's $10,300 a year for K-12 overall, $13,700 average by the time you get to high school. Most families that you and I know aren't making up a difference between $1,700 and $13,000 a year. Students in voucher states who do transfer from public to private school, often from working class or lower class families, lower income families, get admitted mostly to schools with little or no academic track record. Don't imagine that vouchers are a poor kid's ticket into Detroit Country Day or Cranbrook. Studies of voucher programs in various states have yielded mixed results. And by mixed, I mean that some show no significant changes and others show declines. That's the mix. Where vouchers exist, they fail. 2 years of Arizona's voucher experiment are to blame for largely to blame for a $1.4 billion budget shortfall, and that's according to a nonpartisan analysis. Vouchers don't shift costs, they add costs. Since most voucher recipients were already in private schools, states with vouchers are now paying for education they previously did not have to fund, which is great for well-off families who can benefit. But it's bad for public education, which we know is already strained. And not only that, but in Michigan, the Blaine Amendment to the state constitution prevents the use of public funds for religious schools. Public dollars belong in public schools. That's how we build a future that benefits all Michigan students. Members of this board should be united in calling for more resources, not cheering the idea of funneling resources away in a money grab that's disguised as a fair market game. Aside from sheer politics, I can't understand how an elected member of a public school board can say it would be a shame if Michigan doesn't get on board with vouchers. Thank you.
All right, the next board meeting of the Grandville Board of Education will be Monday, September 15th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Administration Building. We are adjourned.